One of the biggest cruise lines in the world dominates the awards, builds some of the most impressive ships ever made, and still does not make our top 3. Another costs far less than the luxury brands above it, yet may offer better value than almost anything else at sea. And one cruise line with some of the highest family vacation prices does not even crack the top 5. Because choosing a cruise line is not just about finding the nicest ship. It is about what you actually get for your money once you are on board. So we ranked 10 major cruise lines from worst to best. Starting with number 10, MSC Cruises. MSC might offer more ship for your money than almost anyone on this list. And that is exactly what makes putting it at number 10 so strange. Walk onto one of MSC's newer ships, and there is a very little about it that feels cheap. Huge public spaces, modern cabins, massive pools, family activities, beautiful interiors, and depending on the sailing, fares that can look extremely attractive compared with the biggest American cruise brands. If you are shopping almost entirely by price and ship appearance, MSC can be very difficult to ignore. But the ship itself has never really been MSC's biggest problem. The challenge is consistency. The experience can change noticeably depending on the ship, itinerary, crowd, and type of cabin you book. Service can feel less personal than on the cruise lines higher on this list. Dining gets more mixed reactions. And on busy sailings, some of MSC's biggest ships can feel exactly as busy as they look. Then there is the weirdest part. MSC Yacht Club. Upgrade into Yacht Club and suddenly the entire cruise changes. You get a private area of the ship, more personalized service, separate dining, private lounges, and a calmer experience that can feel far more premium than the standard MSC product. It creates an unusual situation. Some of the people who love MSC the most are not really describing the same vacation as someone who booked one of the cheapest cabins on board, and that makes MSC difficult to rank. For families who want a modern ship and care heavily about price, MSC can be an excellent deal. For travelers who prioritize polished service, consistent food, and a cruise that feels effortless from beginning to end, there are stronger choices. MSC gives you a lot for your money. It just does not always give you the same thing. Number 9. Norwegian Cruise Line. Norwegian sells freedom better than almost anyone in cruising. No obsession with formal nights. No feeling that every day has to follow the same old cruise routine. Eat when you want. Dress more casually. Choose from a huge variety of restaurants. Stay out late. Do your own thing. For solo travelers especially, Norwegian deserves serious attention. The line has invested heavily in solo cabins and social spaces, and it remains one of the easiest major cruise brands to consider if you are traveling alone. Its nightlife is strong too, and on the right ship, there is enough entertainment to keep you busy for an entire week without feeling like you are simply repeating the same sea day over and over again. But Norwegian's biggest strength also creates its biggest frustration. Choice. Norwegian gives you a lot of options, and many of the most appealing options can become another decision about what you are willing to pay for. Specialty dining, drink packages, Wi-Fi, upgraded experiences, extra activities, premium areas. The base fare can look attractive, but the final vacation price depends heavily on how you actually want to cruise. That does not make Norwegian a bad value. It just means you need to understand the product before comparing that first advertised price with another cruise line, because the Norwegian experience can feel very different once you start adding the things you actually want. For some travelers, that flexibility is exactly the point. They would rather pay only for what they use. For others, all those decisions create friction. Norwegian is great when freedom matters more than simplicity, but the cruise lines above it start making the overall experience easier to recommend. Number 8. Carnival Cruise Line. Carnival might be the most unfairly judged cruise line on this entire list. Its reputation tends to arrive before the ship does. Cheap cruises, big parties, crowded pools, loud passengers, and depending on what corner of the internet you visit, you could almost believe every Carnival cruise looks like spring break with a buffet. The reality is much more complicated, because once you look at what people actually pay, Carnival becomes extremely difficult to dismiss. This line understands value. Casual food is one of its biggest strengths. There is plenty to do. The atmosphere is energetic, and families or groups of friends can often book a full cruise vacation without paying what some of the more premium brands ask before the trip has even started. Carnival is not trying to whisper luxury while someone quietly plays piano in the corner. It wants the ship awake. It wants people laughing. It wants music around the pool. It wants families doing things together. And if that sounds exhausting, Carnival may simply not be your cruise line. That is the trade-off. The experience can be louder. Ships can vary significantly. Older vessels do not always compare well with the newest ships from competitors. And travelers looking for calm, polished premium cruising may understand very quickly why Carnival is not near the top of this ranking. But if we ranked cruise lines on value alone, Carnival would be nowhere near number 8. That is what makes the brand interesting. Its reputation suggests cheap. Its actual product often suggests efficient. Carnival knows exactly what its audience wants, and it usually does not waste much time pretending to be something else. If you want quiet sophistication, keep moving. If you want fun without turning your vacation budget into a second mortgage, Carnival deserves more respect than it usually gets. And number 7 has almost the opposite problem. Disney Cruise Line is not number 7 because it is mediocre. It is number 7 because being excellent can become very expensive. Disney understands families better than almost any other travel company on Earth. And that shows at sea. The service is polished. The cabins are thoughtfully designed for families. The entertainment is on another level if you care about Disney characters, stories, and production quality. Kids clubs are a major strength. And unlike some family cruise lines, adults are not simply forgotten once the ship leaves port. There are adult-only areas, restaurants, lounges, and enough attention to detail that parents can still feel like they are on vacation rather than spending 7 days inside a floating daycare center. The problem is the premium. Disney knows exactly what its name is worth, and it charges accordingly. On many sailings, the price difference between Disney and another major cruise line can be significant. The question is how much of the premium is buying a better cruise, and how much of it is buying Disney. If your children wake up talking about Mickey Mouse, Frozen, Marvel, or Star Wars, that distinction may not matter at all. The characters are part of the vacation. The shows are part of the vacation. The themed spaces are part of the vacation. In that situation, Disney could easily be near the top of your personal ranking. But remove that emotional connection and the value becomes much harder to defend. A couple without children can find better adult-focused experiences elsewhere. A family that simply wants water slides, activities, beaches, and entertainment has other excellent choices too. Disney may be the best cruise line in the world for the right family. But the best cruise line overall has to make sense even when Mickey Mouse is not part of the value proposition. Number 6. Holland America Line. Holland America may be the best cruise line on this list for people who are tired of cruise ships trying to become amusement parks. You are not coming here for the tallest water slide at sea. There is no need to turn every deck into another attraction. The appeal is different. Good service, strong dining, interesting itineraries, comfortable ships, live music, and a noticeably calmer atmosphere. Holland America is the type of cruise line where the destination still feels like part of the point. That sounds obvious. But on some modern megaships, it is surprisingly easy to forget you are traveling anywhere at all. The ship becomes the destination. Holland America generally takes the opposite approach. And for the right traveler, that can feel refreshing. Service is one of the line's strongest advantages. Dining is consistently taken seriously, and packages can make the experience feel more inclusive for travelers who prefer paying more upfront rather than thinking about every individual purchase later. So, why is it only number 6? Broad appeal. If your perfect sea day includes giant water parks, surf simulators, non-stop attractions, huge family entertainment complexes, and a ship that feels like its own city, you are shopping for something Holland America is not really trying to sell. That is not a failure. It is simply a narrower product. For couples and adults who care more about food, service, destinations, and quiet than spectacle, Holland America could easily move into the top 3. For everyone else, number 6 feels about right. Number 5. Princess Cruises. Princess makes the top 5 by doing something surprisingly difficult. Almost nothing badly. That may not sound exciting, but it is one of the biggest strengths any cruise line can have. Princess does not need the loudest water park. It does not need to reinvent cruising. It does not need to build its entire identity around one extreme type of traveler. Instead, it sits in a very comfortable middle ground. The ships feel polished. Dining is solid. Couples are well catered for. Itineraries are strong. There is enough entertainment to keep the vacation interesting without making the ship feel like a theme park, and its package options can simplify the spending decision for travelers who already know they are going to want drinks, Wi-Fi, and other extras. Princess is also easy to recommend because it does not ask you to buy into one very specific cruise personality. That matters more than people think. Some lines are amazing if you fit the target audience. Princess is simply good for a lot of people. Its weakness is almost the same as its strength. It can lack that one feature that makes someone immediately say, "I have to book that ship." Royal Caribbean has spectacle. Disney has Disney. Virgin has its adults-only identity. Viking has calm premium cruising. Princess is more subtle. But once you are actually on board, subtle can be exactly what you want. Princess reaches number 5 because it may have fewer obvious weaknesses than almost anything below it. And now the ranking changes. Every cruise line left is genuinely excellent. From here, the question is no longer what is wrong with the product. The question is what you have to give up to get what it does best. And that is exactly why one of the most famous cruise brands in the world is only number 4. Royal Caribbean. Royal Caribbean may build the most impressive cruise ships on Earth. There is almost no reasonable argument against that. Some of its newest ships are not really ships in the traditional sense. They are floating resorts, water parks, multiple neighborhoods, huge theaters, ice skating, surf simulators, massive pools, restaurants everywhere, live entertainment, kids areas, adult areas, and enough activities that you could spend an entire week on board and still miss things. If you are booking a cruise for a family and everyone wants something different, Royal Caribbean is incredibly difficult to beat. One person wants the pool, someone else wants shows, the kids want activities, teenagers want independence, parents want restaurants and bars. Royal builds ships that can absorb all of those people without requiring everyone to enjoy the same vacation. And that is an enormous strength. So why number 4? Because having everything on board only matters if you actually want everything on board. Royal Caribbean's most popular ships can carry enormous numbers of passengers. The newest ships can command high fares. Specialty dining and other premium experiences can add to the total vacation cost, and the entire product is built around scale. For some people, scale is exciting. For others, it becomes tiring. If you spend the week using the shows, attractions, pools, activities, neighborhoods, and entertainment, Royal can feel like extraordinary value. But if you mainly want great food, good service, a beautiful cabin, and somewhere relaxing to spend 7 days at sea, you may be paying for far more ship than you actually need. That is why Royal does not win overall. For families, it might. For entertainment, it probably does. For sheer wow factor, very few cruise lines can compete. But 3 brands ask the average traveler to make fewer compromises. Number 3. Virgin Voyages. Virgin looked at traditional cruising and seems to have made a list of everything it wanted to change. Children? Gone. Traditional main dining rooms? Gone. The usual buffet experience? Reworked. Formal night culture? Not really the point. The result is one of the most distinctive products in mainstream cruising. Virgin is adults only, and it does not treat that as a small detail. It influences the entire atmosphere of the ship. Dining is one of the biggest advantages. Instead of pushing most passengers toward one main dining room and then charging extra for every interesting restaurant, Virgin includes a large range of dining venues in the fare. Basic Wi-Fi is included, essential drinks are included, group fitness is included. Entertainment is deliberately different from the traditional cruise formula, and the entire experience is designed to feel more like a modern adult resort than a classic cruise ship. That approach has earned Virgin a very strong reputation for dining and entertainment. But it is important to understand what Virgin is not. This is not a universal product. Families are automatically excluded. Some traditional cruisers dislike the design, others do not connect with the entertainment style or the younger, more unconventional atmosphere. And while Virgin includes more than many mainstream competitors, service gratuities are no longer automatically included in every new standard booking in the way older reviews of the line may describe. That matters because Virgin's value proposition has always been partly built around reducing the feeling of constant nickel and diming. Even with that change, the line still includes a lot. And for adults who dislike traditional cruising, Virgin may genuinely be the best cruise line on this entire list. But that sentence contains the problem. For adults who dislike traditional cruising, Virgin is brilliant if you are exactly the traveler Virgin designed itself for. An overall number 1 has to be easier to recommend than that. Number 2 wins in almost the opposite way. Viking Ocean Cruises. Viking removes many of the things other cruise lines use to prove their ships are exciting. No giant water parks, no casinos, no children running between kids' clubs and slides. No need to make the ship feel like a floating city. Viking focuses on calm, smaller ocean ships, destination-focused itineraries, a more adult atmosphere, strong service, thoughtful cabins, and an experience where more of the vacation feels settled before you even board. That is one of Viking's biggest strengths. The upfront price is high. There is no pretending otherwise. But premium cruising works differently from budget cruising. A cheaper cruise can start low and then invite you to spend throughout the trip. Viking makes more of the value visible from the beginning. That reduces friction. You spend less time asking what is included, whether you should upgrade, or whether the experience you actually want is sitting behind another package. And the atmosphere is remarkably consistent. Viking knows who its customer is, someone interested in destinations, someone who values service, someone who would rather have a quiet space with a view than a giant attraction above the pool deck, someone who sees the ship as part of the journey rather than the entire reason for taking it. That focus creates a polished product. But once again, focus also creates limits. Viking is expensive. It is not designed for families. It is not designed for travelers who want constant entertainment. And if your dream cruise involves thrill rides and midnight parties, Viking may feel almost aggressively calm. But if relaxation, service, destinations, and consistency matter more than spectacle, Viking has a serious case for number 1. It misses only because the final cruise line offers much of that premium feeling to a slightly broader audience. Number 1. Celebrity Cruises. Celebrity wins this ranking for a surprisingly boring reason. It has the fewest major weaknesses. That is not the type of sentence companies put in advertisements. But when you are spending thousands of dollars on a vacation, it is incredibly valuable. Celebrity sits in one of the hardest positions in cruising: premium without becoming too formal, modern without becoming gimmicky, relaxing without becoming boring, good for couples and adults without completely alienating everyone else. The newer ships are visually impressive, cabins are strong, dining is one of the line's biggest advantages. Service is consistently one of the reasons people move from mainstream cruise brands toward Celebrity. And while there is entertainment, the ship does not need every deck to become another attraction. That balance becomes obvious when you compare Celebrity with the 3 cruise lines directly below it. Royal Caribbean offers more spectacle. If you are traveling with children or want the ship itself to be the attraction, Royal may be the better choice. Virgin is more distinctive. If you want an adults-only cruise that rejects a lot of traditional cruising, Virgin may be better. Viking is calmer and often feels more inclusive. If destination-focused premium cruising is exactly what you want, Viking may be better. Celebrity does not completely defeat any of those brands at their specialty. It simply requires fewer people to say, yes, but. Yes, Royal is incredible, but I do not need a water park. Yes, Virgin is interesting, but I want something more traditional. Yes, Viking is beautiful, but I want more energy. Celebrity sits between them. That does not mean it is perfect. Popular sailings can still be expensive. Packages and inclusions still need to be compared carefully. Families looking for non-stop attractions have better choices, and travelers who want a truly small ship luxury experience will find more exclusive options outside this ranking. But if we had to recommend one major cruise line without knowing much about the traveler beforehand, Celebrity is the easiest answer. Not because it does one thing better than everyone else, because choosing it forces you to give up less. If you are cruising with kids and want non-stop entertainment, Royal Caribbean is still our pick. If value matters most, Carnival deserves a serious look. If you are an adult who wants something completely different, Virgin Voyages may be your number 1. If calm premium cruising matters most, Viking is incredibly difficult to beat. But for the best overall balance of food, service, ships, comfort, and broad appeal, Celebrity takes the top spot. And if you want us to rank the major cruise ships next, subscribe to Travel Tea. There are plenty more vacations worth taking, and a few expensive mistakes worth avoiding.